Hello! In this video I'll try to show and tell some things I know about this experiment I made. I'm calling it color code for now. The first thing I want to talk about is about the puzzle mindset. According with Wikipedia, a puzzle is a game, a problem, or a toy that tests a person's ingenuity or knowledge. In a puzzle, the solver is expected to put pieces together in a logical way in order to arrive to a correct or fun solution of the puzzle. So color code focuses very much on people's ingenuity as the creative source. It also focuses on arriving to a fun solution rather than a correct solution. The only correct solution is if it's doing what you're expecting it to do. If it's not, you haven't solved the puzzle yet. The second thing that I want to call for attention is that color code is a simulation of a handheld game console, much like a Game Boy or a Tetris minigame. Its screen has 16 pixels wide and 16 pixels tall. It has 7 buttons, 4 of which are directional buttons, and the other 3 are action buttons, and I will call them A, B, and C. With the directional buttons, you move the blinking pixel. You see this blinking pixel here? With the directional button, you move that blinking pixel. That we will call it the cursor. With the A button, you stamp the color of this blinking pixel on the screen, and with the B button, you erase that color from the screen. The C button will hide and show the cursor. The C button does much more than that, but we are going to talk about that later. One detail is that you can erase the frame. This blue thing is part of the screen. You can erase and you can draw on top of it. If you walk out of the screen with your cursor, you see the cursor here is here. If you just walk out of the screen in any direction, you will switch between this screen and the code screen. The code screen is divided in sections. The first section that we want to have a look at is these 2 lines of colors here that are our color palette. So there are 16 colors, and if you want to pick a color, you move your cursor on top of that color and press A. Now your cursor becomes that color and you can go back to the drawing area. And so it's a drawing tool, the first thing it is. If you don't feel like designing a character or doing your own composition, you can always rely on like a library. The internet's full of pixel art for you to pick. For this example, I think I want to build this thing from Adventure Time here. I will pick a color for the background. First thing I'm going to do is to erase everything. And I do that by erasing. You can use the keyboard with the arrow keys, and the A button will be the key Z, the B button will be the key X, and the C button will be the C button. So I will quickly draw a sky here. And a floor that's going to be a grass field. And now for the character design. So the head is white and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pixels wide. So I'll come here and say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, put the 2 ears and 1, 2 down. Good. So this is the head. Okay, that should be a good thing. So the second thing that I want to talk about color code is that once you have a drawing, you might as well imagine how it would move, make an animation. In color code, different from other animation tools, you don't replace the entire screen with another drawing. Rather, you replace small chunks of the screen with these 3 by 3 pixels at a time. The second section to look at in this code screen is those two areas here. And those we call the when on the left and the then screen or the then area on the right. The when area, we are going to pick a piece of the drawing. Let's see this part of the arm, and we are going to draw it here exactly as it is. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Good. That looks okay. That looks like this chunk of the screen. And here on the other side, we'll draw what do we want to replace this area of the drawing with. So I want to have a thing raising its hand. So I will move from lower hand to up. So I'll just draw it again, but now with the hand up. Let's see. And remember I told you the C button does more than just hiding the cursor. So if you press the C button here from the code or from the other screen, it plays the animation. It runs the code. And if everything goes right, we are going to see this chunk of the code be replaced by this one. Let's see. Oh, there you go, it replaced. So for it to be an animation, we need now to make the hand go down again, right? So for that, we are going to look at this section of the code screen, and those are the rule slots. There are 16 rule slots, and they are all the same color except one, the selected rule. So right now we are selecting the first rule, and we are going to select the second rule now with the A button. And you can select any of those rules. You can see they are all empty, and the first one has these rules. So now we are going to create a rule that takes these as the when and replace it back with the initial position. So let's do this. So I'll press the button C now, and we are going to automatically switch to the screen. And now you have an animation. So the second thing for the first one is a drawing tool. The second thing you can do is actually to do animations by creating many rules. And the third thing that color code does is interactivity. So to talk about interactivity, we are going to talk about this first line here. And this first line is for game events. The first, so it's the same thing, they all have the same color except one, which is the selected event. So the same way here you get many slots for rules, you also have many slots for events. And the first event is the clock tick. The clock tick is basically, color code is a machine, and every time the machine ticks, every time it runs, does a cycle, it will execute all the rules that are in those slots. The next events are up, right, down, and left. Think of it as a clockwise movement starting from up. So it's up, right, down, and left. And now I want to make something change on the drawing when I press up and down. And I think I want to do this hand going up and down as I press up and down. And the same thing I will do is like I will pick a chunk of the drawing. I think I will pick this 3x3 chunk here, and I will draw here on the when. And here, if I press up, I want to replace this drawing with this drawing. But I think I commit a mistake. Here is actually the grass. Okay, so this is the rule for when I press up. Oh, you see? It went up. Now I want to do another rule. So this is up, right, down. So when the drawing it will be with the hands up, right? And then this is going to be like this, like it is right now. And then I want this to be replaced with this drawing. So besides animating, I can control another part of my drawing with the key press. Besides the up, right, down, and left, this is an event for the A button, and this is an event for the B button. So I can also assign rules for those two buttons when they happen. Cool, so you can either control the animation with the buttons instead of playing a loop, or you can mix looped and interactive animations. And by combining looped and interactive animations, you can now actually start thinking about making games. To make games, I think the best way to explain it is by making rules that are smaller than this 3x3 thing. So in this 3x3 canvas, you can draw just as you were drawing here, except that when you draw here and when you erase here, it's different. You see, there is the black color and there is no color. So we are going to make rules that part of this canvas here has no color. And I'll do, for an example, a bouncing pixel. So if the pixel purple has a black space on its right, it will replace it with the swapped position between the black and the purple. And if we play this animation, the purple moves right all the way until the purple pixel doesn't have a black pixel on its right. So the second rule I'm going to make is if the purple pixel has a blue pixel on its right, it will turn this bright pink. And the bright pink has a different rule. It says if the bright pink pixel has a black pixel on its left, it swap the positions. So now it will bounce back. And following the same idea, I will create a fourth rule that says if the bright pink is touching on its left a wall, this blue, what I do is I turn that into a purple pixel. And now this is going to bounce back and forth. And that is cool, but there is another thing you can do, which is add as many as you want of those pixels, and they will be bouncing on the screen. and you can play with that. So it's important to notice that you can also draw walls here to make interesting paths and interesting things. You can make it walk upward instead of sideways, and it can be interactive. So another thing you can do is, I will add a yellow pixel here. So remember the rule for up? So if I press up and my yellow pixel has a black pixel on top of it, I want to swap positions. If I press right and there is a black pixel on the right, I swap its position. And if I press down and there is a black pixel below it, I also swap the position, and the same thing for the left. If my yellow pixel has, if I press to the left and there is space, there is a black pixel to the left, I swapped its position, and this will allow me to control this yellow pixel. The left is not working. Why is not working? Because I did not swap. I actually kept the same. So I can move around my thing, and I can maybe draw a maze, and maybe I don't know, I'll draw a maze here, or just like a corridor, right? And you can, by building up on those rules, you can make many games. You can make this kind of games that you have to change the color of these pixels, and if it touches you, it disappears. You can make rules for that. And you can do games that are more like a Pong game or like a breakout game that bounces on the wall, or you can make shooting games that when you shoot something it grows and expands. You can make simple animations, you can make complicated animations, you can make water and earth and like liquid simulation, and you can do pretty complicated rules. This one is one favorite of mine. It's called Wire World, and this circuit here, it charges, and then when it gets fully charged, it starts blocking the entry of new electrons, and then until it's fully discharged, and then it starts to charge again. So it's pretty powerful, and you can do many things. I haven't mentioned about this last event, and this last event is open for hacking. So you can make different hardware, different sensors. You can randomly trigger this event. So this is open for extending. So I'm very curious to understand and to hear how do you see this? What do you thought it was hard? What do you think it's easy? And what kind of things you want to make with it? So that's it. Bye bye.